Beautiful beings of the universe, welcome to now. I'll start this video with the beautiful Lord Ganesha. And also, I went to the park today and I just made myself this cute flower bouquet, and it's all from the fallen red leaves. And this looks so fresh. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about the power of giving. And though the society has told you that it's more in the taking, it's quite the other way. Because the real joy is in the giving. Just think about it, because you can keep on having things for yourself and calling yourself as this is me, this is mine, this is what belongs to me. But truly, the moment you feel most satisfied and happy and joyful is when you're giving. So I'll just light this violet incense because this smells so awesome. And for the purification of the air. And I've been reading this book 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma because I've been struggling a lot with waking up early. So I ordered this book thinking that this might uplift my spirits and just rekindle the part of me that always wants to wake up early and face the fear despite whatever unpleasantness that you must go through. So I wanted to read a part of this book that says all change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. So while you're trying to make any sort of a good change, they might laugh at you. They might try and break your spirit. They might put roadblocks on your journey, but it's just not about them. It's just about keeping you should just have the courage to keep on walking that path. Because as I see to it from my personal experience, I don't wake up early because I don't see any reason. Like, even if I wake up early, so what? What am I going to do? I'll have to go through the same things which I do every day. And I do not see any special sort of a joy, but the reason you want happiness and joy is because you are trying to expect something from the world. Like, you should do this for me, but the world offers you nothing. World is going to offer you bitterness and ugliness in all of its massive form and scale, so that you get inside of your own self and you sit with your own self and see, well, if it's not that way, wherein what I'm expecting from the world, if that doesn't offer me the stuffs, then probably the solution is the other way, which is about giving. So while the mean and the ugly part of the world has shown you and proven you all this while that it's about taking, but just take a look at it. At the root of all of this give and take is this act of service. You want to serve, you want to be of help, and not just help for the fact that you want your ego satisfied that I'm so capable and I'm so helpful. Look, I was able to solve your problem. See, I'm smarter than you, I'm cleverer than you. It's more about the deeper sense of truly being a human. And there's an aspect of love in that. And people want to completely get rid of this ideology because all of their interest is in which territory should I expand my business to, so that that just in turn gives me more money. And I am then going to use that money in order to multiply my area further. But the whole idea behind all of this is that you want to be of service to the world. And that's what precisely is the main differentiating factor between some worthy man, somebody who's remembered throughout their life and after they're gone. That's their true legacy. In the way they worked, in the way they served the world, they were able to uplift the humanity. And that's all that is of true essence and value. So in this book, he says about this all change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. And the speaker is giving a speech to the audience so that everybody is able to recognize the greatness within them. And he says, each one of you carries a quiet genius and a triumphant hero within your hearts. Dismiss these as idealistic words of an elderly inspirationalist, if you wish. But I'm proud to be an idealist. Our world needs more of us. And yet, I'm also a realist. And here's the truth: most people on the planet today don't think much of themselves, unfortunately. They secure their identity by who they are externally. They evaluate their achievement by what they have collected versus the character they have cultivated. They compare themselves to the orchestrated and fake highlight reels presented by the people they follow. They measure their self worth by their net worth. And they get kidnapped by the false thought that because something has never been done, it can't be done, depleting the grand and electrifying possibilities their lives are meant to become. This explains why the majority is sinking in the quicksand of uncertainty, boredom, distraction, and complexity. And I could just relate so much with it because even if you wake up and even if you do not sleep and even if you have 24 hours by yourself, wherein if you do not eat, you do not drink, you do not sleep, so what are you going to do then? Given that you do not feel hungry, given that you do not have taste and you don't want to eat any food, what is it that you would want to do then? Given that you have seen the mundane task of shopping, buying, consuming mindlessly, and you see that none of that has got any sense of worth, true essence, and meaning to that. So, what would you do then? Then probably it's a call to face things that terrifies you, face your fears, to truly see why is it that you're doing something, or why is it that you're not doing something that you should be doing because you have the fear of failing, you have the fear of falling behind in your own eyes, you have the fear of forever remaining a loser because what if it didn't work out because you don't know. So the biggest fear is to sit with the unknown and say that I don't know, and not that is just not enough that you say I don't know. There's this further task of doing the work because there's an equivalent force that tells you to not do the work. So because there's a resistance, there's this anti-force within you that tells you should don't do this because you're feeling lazy or you're sleepy or you just see don't any point in creating that work any further. And it's because of this presence of negativity that you choose that I'm not going to listen to this voice and rather I'll choose the creativity. I'll choose to shine in a world that wants to deplete you of your light. You are putting not just an equal but greater force than the demonic evil forces that wants you to stay dark. This is the real work. This is your real work. And it's not about how much you make and what you get out of it. It's all about how much you are giving. That's the true reason why you incarnated on the planet. So I'll read on further awesome excerpts from this book. To be clear, every day for the rest of your life, you will be faced with the chance of showing leadership wherever you are and in all that you do. Leadership isn't just for global icons and marketplace titans. It's an arena everyone gets to play in. Because leadership is a lot less about having a formal title, a large office, and a lot of money in the bank. Leadership is a lot more about committing to mastery over all you do and in who you are. It's about resisting the tyranny of the ordinary, refusing to allow negativity to hijack your sense of awe, and preventing any form of slavery to mediocrity from infesting your life. Leadership is about making difference right where you are planted. Real leadership is about sending out brave work that exemplifies genius, turns your whole field on its head by its scope, innovation, and execution, and is so staggeringly sublime that it stands the test of time. So, if you truly see all of the people who have truly done the great work, their agenda was never ever to make fame, to make money. The top 5% in the world, I'm saying, to get famous, to be known. All of this is the extra, the truest empowerment that you can ever bring in your own character, to your own soul, is by facing your own demons, is by facing your own shadow, as Carl Jung would say. And that is terrifying, that is painful, that is ugly. And nobody wants to accept this fact that their own shit smells bad. That's why the society is always turned external, and they are all the time about slandering somebody else because they do not want to look inside themselves and say that, well, I've got all this work to do because it's shit scary. And that's how you see the energy vampires get a lot of energy by tearing and stealing from others. The world is not in a state of rich and poor, this dual thing, because somebody deserved more and somebody deserved less, but it's all by selfishness. If we want right now, there are enough housing in the world so that all of the homeless people in the world can have very decent homes to live in. But no, it's the selfishness that will keep some people on top, 2 3%, and rest of the majority of population in the world in poverty, all to satisfy their petty little ego that I own the world, whereas you worm, you deserve to be having nothing. Do this test. Just pick some very average child from a very poor family, and you give them all of the resource and train them, and you see how they would not shine. So it's a lot about intentionally difference being created in amongst the classes in this world. It's nothing to do with they did the greater work, so they deserved all of that. But it's a lot of hoarding, looting. This is theft. This is thievery, complete theft. And if at all the people who own the world, who have a lot of power in the world, the political leaders, if their consciousness could be altered, if they turn from satanic into the light mode, into higher levels of consciousness, into God mode, so to speak, the world is not going to be so ugly and dark. We can very well have the world wherein every person tries and uplifts somebody else, where the rules are made so that there could be equality, there could be beauty, there could be resonance, and not disharmony, hatred, war, and panic and anxiety. And that's why you see all of these zombies out there in the world, soulless people. And why are these people soulless? Because to them, life just rendered no meaning. So all they knew was just living by attacking on somebody else, just by being about fearful energy, but by just operating out of sheer lower conscious states, because raising up to the higher consciousness is a lot of effort. But somebody who has the power, who has the energy, who has the will, who has the power to decide the world order, and if they truly want, they can be a beautiful new world order on the planet. And that should be the mark of beginning of the new earth. But the way how the world is right now, and you're just going to raise your children and the next generation in fear and darkness with this growing evil. So I'll go back to this excerpt that says, never work only for the income. Labor for the impact. Make your dominant pursuit the heartfelt release of value that represents an uncommon magic that borders on the poetic. Demonstrate the full on expression of what's possible for a human being to create. Develop the patience to stick with your dedication to absolute world class output, even if over a lifetime you only generate a single masterpiece. To achieve this feat alone will have made your life's journey a worthy trek. So much about the importance of meaning of basically giving meaning to the life, right? That is so essential. Why else just do something without having any sense of meaning, value, and belongingness to it? So this talks about being a virtuoso, being a standout, being an exceptionalist. The top 5% are a lot less concerned with fame, with cash, and approval, and a lot more invested in punching above their weight class within their craft, playing above their pay grade, around their talents, and creating the kind of productivity that inspires and serves millions. And that's often why they do make millions. So never mail it in, it's always about bringing it on. And this is so awesome, this section. So all of this is just about doing the work just for the sake of it, without having to think, what is in it for me? What is it going to give me? And strangely enough, you will start to see the more you do not care, the more the right sort of resources, the right sort of people, the right sort of intelligence, right sort of ideation, right form of energy, environment, all of that starts to align with you. That just works in the most paradoxical way, wherein if you are creating something with the intent that I want this and that, and I want fortune and fame and the world, society to clap for me, the more you run after it, the more it runs away from you. I'll read on further the next part that says anyone can become an everyday leader by showing up as I'm encouraging. When it's easy, and especially when it's difficult. Starting today, if you do so, a guaranteed victory is in your future. And I need to add that there's not one person alive today who cannot live their thinking, performance, vitality, prosperity, and lifetime happiness magnificently by wiring in a series of profound daily rituals and then practicing them until they become your second nature. And this brings me back to the single most important principle of the greatest starting point is what I call the 5 a.m. club. So, this is what the book is about, waking up at 5 and making each morning beautiful by having time for yourself. So, this says rising at 5 a.m. truly is the mother of all routines. Joining the 5 a.m. club is the one behavior that raises every other human behavior. This regimen is the ultimate needle mover to turn you into an undefeatable model of possibility. The way you begin your day really does determine the extent of focus, energy, excitement, and excellence you bring to it. Each early morning is a page in the story that becomes your legacy. Each new dawn is a fresh chance to unleash your brilliance, unprison your potency, and play in the big leagues of iconic results. You have such power within you, and it reveals from the first rays of daybreak. Do not allow past pains and present frustrations to diminish your glory, stifle your invincibility, and choke the unlimited possibilitarian that lurks within the supreme part of you. In a world that seeks you to keep you down, build yourself up. In an epoch that wishes you would stay in the dark, step into your light. At a time that mesmerizes you to forget your gifts, reclaim your genius. Our world requires this of each of us to be champions of our crafts, warriors for our growth, and guardians of unconditional love for all of humankind. And why you want to do all of this, waking up at 5, mastering your own fears, facing your own demons, because deep down it's all for the upliftment of humanity. This is for the upliftment of humankind. And it will upset those who do not want to be the living voice of love, of truth, of beauty. If it upsets anybody just because you are shining light, is because they want to continue to live out of fear. It's just a choice. Either you live out of fear or you live out of love. And people have confused this thing about fear and love as they might say that, okay, if you are operating out of love because you are living a very safe, comfortable, easy, and a life which is all sugar coated, in which everything is brought to you, that means you're not facing any hurdles. But that is not true. If you look at the lives of people who truly operate out of love, is because they have faced the most darkest aspects of themselves, is because they have had the courage to go through the darkness, through the madness of life, through the trials, tribulations, and tests that the society put through them. And it was precisely in those tests that these people developed a higher sense of wisdom. And that is precisely your higher consciousness. That is your Christ consciousness. That is your Krishna consciousness. And once you are having these increased awareness, increased consciousness, then you will naturally start to see that your taste starts to decline in things that you do not enjoy anymore, and you start to gravitate more towards natural food, and you start to feel that you need lesser and lesser food, and you start to feel that you need far lesser things, because it's not about taking and consuming, it's about giving what you're creating, what sort of. And creating need not be only in a product factory format. Your creating might be just being yourself, just purely being, connecting to that true source of who you are. And that might seem very insane, because sometimes who you are sitting with, that is going to take you down to the deepest hells of you. And how do you express that, feel that? Sometimes in your physical pain inside the body, or an uneasiness, heaviness in your body, or through trials and tribulations, through tests in the external world. When people push your buttons on purpose to see, to check, are you really highly conscious? Are you not going to react if I test you? And if you are truly woke, and not in a sense that just calling yourself I'm woke and I'm higher than you, but just about you see that the more you fight others at their animalistic level, it just lowers your vibe down, and you don't see any purpose doing that anymore. You just don't see any meaning to that. So whatever is unnecessary, that automatically falls off like dead leaves. And you're not putting any effort to that. You're not training yourself for that. Though initially it might have needed you a lot of training. Initially it might have forced you to sit and chant until the name of the god automatically starts chanting from inside of you. So all of this is a lot of work, a lot of real inner work in the beginning, and in the end you see it's all automatic. And don't think it's over now, because now you just find that you have this newfound wisdom inside of you. Probably tomorrow you'll be tested again. Some new life situation will come. Some new fear will arise inside of you. Some new threat, some new challenge. Because what is life? Life is a training ground for challenges, and you must be ready for facing it. You're like a batsman in the field of cricket, and you must be ready to take the ball, take the bounces of life, and not be scared. Because if you keep missing, then it doesn't make the game so interesting. But you have the courage and you see what wrong did I did last time, and if you have the courage to be aware about it and to fix yourself, that's when you will see with practice the next oncoming balls you're going to hit better. And then you start to make more scores, and then you start to make fours, and then you start to make six. But if you keep running away and if you keep avoiding that fear that I don't know and I need work in bringing my game up, then you're always going to keep on avoiding and not be ready to face the challenge and not be ready to meet the the problem at its immense form. And strangely, you will see that all of this fear that you might have created in your head about a problem, that, oh, they're acting like this, they're being so mean, they do not care for me, or I'm not being supported. But strangely, you'll see that the tougher the situations in life, there's a different form of intelligence and vitality that arises within you, which you would have never ever realized if you were living with a bunch of people who pretend that they actually care for you, whereas they do not. So all of these people who are codependent, that I do this for you and you just do that for me, they could never ever have the courage like you standing out alone. Why? Because you had the courage to face all of this by yourself, and that needs tremendous, magnanimous amount of courage, which a normal common person surely would never ever have. They cannot even visualize the amount of courage it needs to be on your own. Not because you're crazy and you're antisocial, but because you see the pointlessness of it all. Because you are awake and you just see the pointlessness of all of this unnecessary games that the society told that this is essential for you, for your survival. And you see, you've gone past that. You've gone past that because you stood through that and you watched the bullshit meaningless value that they told this is important and that is important and this is how you should be living your life. Whereas you are a complete creator. You create your own life the way you want it because you exactly know what is it that you want. And if you do not know what you want, for sure you do know what you do not want, because life will throw you in a situation wherein it's not going to be nice, it would be ugly, it would be disgusting maybe. And you'd say, I don't like this shit. I surely don't like it. And then there would be the arising of other thing inside of you that would say, probably I want this. I want to experience this other state of being. And then, since you know this is what is essential for you, you channel your energy in that direction to something that is beautiful, something that has high value, something that has got meaning to it, that is just not meaningless and dumb and stupid. This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being a force of nature instead of a feverish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. This is from George Bernard Shaw. I am of the opinion that life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live in it, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. Life is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it to the future generations. So you want to get completely consumed by life. You do not want to save yourself. You don't want to save any cell of yourself. You want to be completely devoted to life. That is the true devotion. To be able to give, and your giving could be starting from just your being, and the more you dwell in your I am, just your presence, your being, that's when you will actually realize what is it that is truly important for you. Until you do not realize what is important for you, life will keep on throwing you tests day after day, year after year, decades after decades, so that you start to chef from your things that you don't like. It's like a sort of impurities would be just taken out, so whatever is pure and beautiful and divine is left in you, and then you take that as your raw materials and you start work from there. Chapter 5 talks about a bizarre adventure into morning mastery. Everyone holds his future in his own hands. Like a sculptor, the raw material he will fashion into a figure. The skill to mold the material into what we want must be learned and attentively cultivated. I'll repeat the last line again. The skill to mold the material into what we want must be learned and attentively cultivated. This is a quote by Johann von Goethe. So whatever skill that we need to learn in order to create that art, that painting, that music, that gardening, if you want to learn gardening, so there's a way to do it in the right way. What is a skill? Skill is to be able to do something so that it nurtures the thing that you're making. Now to learn that you might go to a university, or the best way that you can learn is by your own self study. Being self taught is the best way to learn a thing, but that needs a lot of work, and that also needs a lot of self faith and belief that I can teach myself this and that. But the society would always say, are you certified in this? Like, how do you claim you know this? And the truest of the truest knowledge comes from the deepest aspects of you. So, somebody who has gone deeper into their own journey of who they are the ones who have been able to bring back this glory, this true wealth of knowledge. And sometimes it might mean that you need to contact someone else that this is the area of what I want to learn, and be able to see if truly they are able to add value to your knowledge base, or are they just wasting your time and money. And if so is the case, you must change that tutor. You must you must not just keep on checking into an institute because they give you a certificate at the end of 4 years or 5 years. Because if whatever it is that is of interest to you, astronomy, philosophy, psychology, nature, birds, animals, sea life, sports, whatever is your area of interest, politics, the idea is that first of all, you should see, you would know at this point in time, I want to learn more about this area, and then you should go after the sources. And Internet is full of ample amount of sources. So there's a lot that you can learn on your own. There are a lot of self-taught musicians because they know that deep inside they had this intuition, and all they did was to answer that call and then keep on sharpening that thing that made sense to them. Or people who started voicing out their opinion, their knowledge, their own truths because they had to and they wanted to. There was no force on them, but because you feel the need of doing something, you do it. Just because you feel that there's a dire need for that. That's why you speak, because you don't want to do any other thing that doesn't hold any meaning to you. This says, in a culture of cyber zombies, addicted to distraction and afflicted with interruption, the wisest way to guarantee that you consistently produce mastery level results in the most important areas of your professional and personal life is to install a world class morning routine. Winning starts at your beginning, and your first hours are when heroes are made. Wage a war against weakness and launch a campaign against fearfulness. You truly can get up early, and doing so is a necessity in your awesome pursuit toward legendary. Take excellent care of the front end of your day, and the rest of your day will pretty much take care of itself. Own your morning, elevate your life. So that's all I wanted to share in this video because this is an awesome book, The 5 a.m. Club, and I wanted to share the beautiful aspects from this book. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love. Namaste, namaskaram.